Alright, let's meet the Archon, shall we?
That's 4 reports of avalanches in the mountains now. The Tearsmen can barely count past 9. They have neither the capacity nor the cause to close off the mountain passes. Either way, that leaves the 2nd and 4th cohort trapped outside the valley.
The Archon of War pounds his staff on the ground to punctuate his words. A large and imposing man to begin with, his profile is made larger still by his hulking suit of armor that hums with mystic energy.
Or it's the work of your perfidious Earthshakers. Only a fool would not suspect a traitorous Archon of poisoning the mind of his students with sedition. We would have killed the Earthshakers Guild for their master's treachery, but I'm sure you have some perfectly valid reason for allowing them to live as your pawns.
The Earthshaker Guild is a group of mages that worked for the traitor Archon, I believe. Anyway, the Archon of Secrets passes a scepter between his hands as he speaks, twirling the rod in hypnotic circles. Okay, he's speaking to me directly into my head. Hello there, Fatebinder. We'll be with you in just a moment. Emerald luminescence seeps from the seams of the Archon's ragged red robes. The glow is most noticeable where his neck should be. His mask seems to float and spin, never pivoting or bending naturally.
Hey, watch yourself. When these two get going, you don't want to get between them.
Yeah, it's probably best That's a good hint. Thank you, Verse. We're just gonna let him talk.
I always know you've run out of things to say when you resort to mocking my vassals. If we are to speak of treachery, why is it that my scouts see the Scarlet Chorus warriors defecting back to the Vendrian Guard? Your fearsome reputation has gone flaccid, for it seems you cannot control your soldiers, or perhaps you simply choose not to.
My lords, the Fatebinder has arrived. The disfavored commander raises her voice, trying with little success to speak over the Archons. Perhaps we could table this discussion and let our guests speak.
Speaking of strategic failures, who was it that insisted the valley would need only a token garrison? For some strange reason, we can't seem to recall which balding halfwit grossly underestimated the enemy. Thoughts?
The Archon of Secrets speaks in your head again. Can you hear us, Fatebinder? Cough, if we have your attention. His leather-wrapped hands flipping the heavy rod with an effortless flow. Yeah, I'm not saying a word. He wants me to save him.
And I thought you had left agents within these Tearsmen when they surrendered. Either you failed to see this coming, or you knew and let it happen. Incompetent or in cahoots, either way, this mess has your filthy stink all over it.
The Archon of War lurches forward, resting his weight on his war maul as blue luminescence crackles around his armor.
We look forward to seeing you explain to Tunon why the Archon of War could not close the vice on this trivial little insurgency. When we are crowned the ruler of the Tears, we shall have this place renamed to Ash's Folly in your honor.
The voices in Herat speaks in your head again. Hello, Fatebinder. We know you can hear us. Now, you know, we know, you know. Come on, these meetings with Ash are so boring. Cough if we have your attention. Yeah, no.
If I could trust the information I get from you and your conscripted mouth breathers, perhaps I'd order my cohorts around a bit more aggressively. But last time I trusted your all-clear report, my troops failed to come home.
Oh, Ash, old boy. If you're going to have a little sob every time one of your nieces or nephews dies to the Tearsmen, perhaps we should have Siren sing you some calming lullabies to help you cope with your grief.
She's Siren, I'm Siren. I like that they pronounce it that way. The Archon of Song. The youngest Archon. I don't know if I read this, so we'll go ahead and read it. Siren is the Archon of Song, and the youngest Archon sent to conquer the Tears. Young and inexperienced, Siren is sworn to the voices in Herat, who uses her powers of charm and manipulation to swell the ranks of the Scarlet Chorus with volunteers. The Archon speaks in your head one more. Suit yourself, Fatebinder, the more you ignore us. Hold your tongue! I will not have you denigrate the honor of our fallen brethren! The commander's hand moves to the hilt of her blade, though the weapon stays sheathed. It'd be doing us all a favor if I cracked open that excuse for a head. They bicker like children, do they not? The fifth eye's grating tenor pierces the tension in the tent, and all eyes land on the crimson spear. I meant only to say, welcome to our guest, the Fatebinder. The armored retainer bows with rushed elegance, then rises to a salute, and not a moment too soon. Ah, why didn't you speak up sooner? My Lord Archons, the governor of Lethian's Crossing, has finally arrived. I beg you to cease arguing for a moment. Bow to the Archons. Apologies for the sudden entrance. I've traveled long to be here.
Ah, the fire starter has arrived. Welcome, welcome. Our agents tell us such lovely stories of what you did at the Vellum Citadel. Have you come bearing another fragment of Kairos' wrath in tow?
My soldiers tell me you helped Commander Drotus on your way through Eddring. You honor the court with your selfless cooperation, for that is the sort of camaraderie that Kairos demands of us all.
On the last of the words, the Archon of War glares at the voices in Herat, furrowing his brow as he utters the word camaraderie. I come bearing an edict of Kairos.
For the second time, Brother Tunon selects you for the glory of proclamation. You should be honored. Tell us, what has the Overlord decided to unleash upon the Oathbreakers?
In honor of your incompetence and disarray, the edict will execute every living thing in this valley unless Ascension Hall is taken by Kairos' Day of Swords. The earth sways with each word you utter, the air thickening with warmth as you pronounce the tersely phrased commandment. It's every syllable drafted by the hand of Kairos. With the edict proclaimed, your pulse quickens and the muscles in your legs, worn from a long trip down the mountains, feel renewed. The tired limbs, now nearly buoyant with vigor.
The Overlord means to compel us into action. No doubt the avalanches in the mountains are part of this ultimatum. We must conquer the Oathbreakers or die in failure. There is no room for error, and no other way out of this valley alive. We'll need to advance across the Mittani. We lose everything if we stand still, and we move to back up Plan Green. The Earthshakers didn't make it over the mountain in time, so we do this the hard way. Over the walls instead of through.
The Archon of War taps a finger against his temple. A low rumble escapes from under his beard.
So you found your backbone at last! Oh, we were worried past humiliations would make you soft, timid. That was a record for you, right? The baker's dozen lost in one sortie. If you had waited for the chorus reinforcements, maybe we'd have eyes and ears on the matter.
The Archon of Secret speaks in your head once again. Watch him squirm. So many tears over replaceable, expendable, useless soldiers. I miss the old Archon of War. You'd never see blood echo in a blubbering mess over a few dead killers. He'd use the knuckle bones of his best disciples for jewelry, and even made a breastplate out of his dead brother's ribcage, because that's how a real man deals with grief. I'm just gonna remain silent.
You make it sound like you've been putting even the slightest effort into getting a foothold across the Mittani, when all you've done is set your gangs to uncoordinated raids. You're the Archon of Secrets. Why is it you still don't know the enemy's full strength and capabilities? Maybe you know, and choose not to share.
Look, if you're afraid to send more troops against the Oathbreakers, just admit that you're a coward and allow us to take charge of the situation. The Scarlet Chorus will be happy to prove it can do what the disfavored cannot.
I'm tempted to tell him to work together or we're all gonna die. I'm gonna remain silent.
I tire of your incessant heckling. The disfavored have shouldered the brunt of this war, and I will not have you mock our sacrifices.
My lord, Beric and his band have been drilled on the Echo Call assault plan. The Crescent Runners should be briefing them as we speak regarding the latest enemy movements along the river. I will dispatch him at once. The Iron Marshal salutes. clapping her gauntlet to her breastplate. And I will ensure the chorus stands ready to march. If the disfavored can take the river, the chorus has the manpower to secure the outer ring of the valley.
Our soldiers clamor for battle, and at last we shall have it. Verse, we command you to continue guarding the Fatebinder. Tunan's chosen is our honored guest, and must be shown our finest hospitality.
I won't let you down, boss. She'll get through the campaign in one piece, as long as she doesn't do anything too stupid.
Before we go, you are owed payment, Firestarter. Our spies at the Vellum Citadel were nearly cut down by the disfavored. They have you to thank for their lives. Here is a taste of our gratitude.
The Archon of Secrets tosses a small handful of rings your way. As he begins to leave, he taps the fifth eye on the shoulder and, with one last twirl, "Suit yourself, Fatebinder. The more you ignore us," the Archon departs with his underling. Wow, let the rings fall to the ground. I don't take bribes. That's so badass, but I literally just took a bribe. You gotta respect that. But fuck it. The Archon of Secrets lets out a small chuckle as he leaves.
Finally, the fool and his puppet are gone. Perhaps now I can hear myself think. Rarely do I question Kairos' judgment, but I will never understand why the voices of Narot is given such authority. I shudder to think what will become of us all should Tunon favor him in the end. Though the edict threatens the Scarlet Chorus just as it threatens us, I cannot shake the feeling that our allies will work against us. Now, if you'll leave me be, I have a battle to plan. I imagine duty requires you speak with the chorus further, but if I can convince you to lend a hand, most of my legion is trapped beyond the mountains, so I'm in need of an added sword or two. If you wish to be counted amongst the glorious, speak with the Iron Marshal. She will direct the order of battle until we are ready for the final push into the Citadel.
I'm short a few scouts, short a few soldiers, short a few everything. I'm sure my brethren would be grateful for the assistance of a skilled outsider. Glare silently. The Iron Marshal salutes Graven Ash, then turns to leave the tent. I will be at the training grounds, readying the soldiers. Find me there when you are ready. She pauses, clearing her throat. And though I am loath to mention it, the chorus can likely use your assistance. They certainly won't secure the outer valley on their own. The fifth eye will be somewhere in the rat's nest they call a camp, due east. Seek him out, if you must. Yeah. That rat's nest is our home.
Quiet down!
Oops.
Good thing I keep a torsion wrench handy.
Okay, we're gonna talk to Graven Ash. Hopefully piss him off even more. No, I don't know. He's an Archon. You gotta respect him to an extent. The Archon of War lets out a long sigh as he surveys the maps and models splayed about his desk. He glances over his shoulder, making brief eye contact with you, furrows his brow, and turns back to his contemplation. The first time you proclaimed an edict, you gave the enemy a suspicious amount of time to ready themselves. I chalk it up to excessive mercy for a backwards people. But when an edict is against your kin, that is an order you follow to the letter. May we speak a moment? I tire of all this endless prattle. I am the Archon of War, and the Overlord has decreed battle. If you wish to help, go speak with my soldiers. Return when you have done something useful. He pounds the haft of his maul onto the ground, signaling you to shut the fuck up. The battle reports from Echo Call Crossing blames the failure of the assault on the village on the Scarlet Chorus. Apparently, their scouts failed to report critical intelligence about enemy composition. don't think we talked to these two, did we? Hail to you, guardian of the law. The man dressed in merchant finery greets you with a smile. If you have a few excess rings weighing you down, best unburden yourself before the battle. You know that the disfavored suffered a merchant in their camp. You know that if the disfavored... Sorry, my fucking dog. Anyway, you know that if the disfavored suffer a merchant in their camp, that must be a man selling only the finest provisions and armaments. He points to his collection of shields, rations, satchels, wineskins, and other sundries. Take a look and see if something interests you. How'd you come to work for the disfavored? Hard work and good suppliers. When Tunon's men came to my village, all the merchants were given different lists of what they were or were not permitted to trade. He smiles, hands on hips. In Kairos' wisdom, my record must have been a good one, because I was given the right to trade in all manners of goods, most importantly, arms. Not a lot of merchants can legally sell weapons. It was like that even before Kairos. Alright, let's see what he's got. Nothing I care about, I guess. Who's
Sorry, I
Sevius?
can't.
Fatebinder Siren, am I right? I'm Sevius, commander and third generation disfavored. Specifically, I am Sevius the Younger. Some folks can't keep track. The rank says commander, but lately, I'm just organizing patrols and trying to stay out of the way. You should talk to the Iron Marshal if you've something official that needs discussing. What do you need? I overheard you asking the Earthshaker where the reinforcements have gone. Is there some kind of problem? Keep in mind I am supposed to be neutral somewhat, so I will help out the disfavored perhaps a little, but I'm afraid so. Radix, the head of the Earthshakers, was supposed to arrive with a group of his most competent spellslingers to help break the stalemate. I don't know what's holding up their arrival, and that worries me. If you were at all inclined to lend a hand, we could use some arcane support on my side. I could lend a hand. Could you? I knew that Tunon's agent wouldn't fail us in the time of need. I'll mark the last known site of the Earthshaker reinforcements on your map. Good hunting, Fatebinder. Why don't these two armies work together? Come on, Binder. Seems like I'm asking why you're asking why beasts stink. The disfavored are only too eager to deliver Kairos' peace to the tiers, while the Scarlet Chorus bring only mayhem in their wake. You can tell me the Voices in Arat has a plan, and I'll take your word for it, but the Chorus sure seems to blunder around here, never moving with the purpose we do. I wonder if we've been fighting the same war, soldier. I've seen Ash yank his precious soldiers away from more battles than he's won. If you want to call that progress, be my guest. Unless we find a way to work as one, I fear that the Scarlet Chorus will step in front of Graven Ash's strategies at every turn. As far as I'm concerned, it seemed like the Voices in Arat is here to amuse himself while the rest of us are here doing our job. Why has the siege been delayed for so long? Insufficient reputation. Well, shit. Don't look at me. It's not like we had a standing army ready to tackle these idiots. The Legion is spread thin across the tiers. Tell me about yourself. Insufficient rep. Sorry, Binder. Even I know there's no law that can force me into small talk. If you want to make friends, talk to someone else. Well, can't be friends with everyone. Talk to the Iron Marshal Arrhenios. Don't just coddle the impact. Push back with your shield. Take the momentum. Iron Marshal Arrhenios, field commander of the disfavored, pounds their fists in the air as she calls out the warriors on the training field. I said eyes on your opponent's waistline. If you spend more than a glance checking his footwork, you've lost. The disfavored officer turns to you, adjusting her pale golden surcoat. Judging from her uniform, this is the Iron Marshal Arrhenios, first among equals in the Iron Guard, Graven Ash's inner circle of trusted followers, charged with being the duties of leadership, logistics, and training. There's rarely a quiet day for the second in command of the disfavored legion. She clears her throat. Need to stay on top of the troops or their skills will rust. It is for their own good, even if they don't believe it. It was mentioned you're short on warriors and need help. What's the situation? I have brigades amassing along the Placid, Echo Call, and Littletooth crossings. The Vendrian Guard may be able to hold one bridge, but they cannot hold against a concerted three-prong attack. I have no right to give you orders, but... Her words falter, a short cough breaking her flow. We all die to Kyros' edict should we fail, so I'm not about to let my pride blind me to the value of your help. I will assist. Then our plan just might work. The Iron Marshal lifts her gauntlet close to her face, shifting her eyes from you to the metal articulations. We are loath to work with those who don't share our training and our values, but we know that Tunon the Adjudicator selects only the most capable minds for his court, and I trust you will honor us all in the field. Antio will be leading the charge at Echo Call Crossing. Assisting you will be Barrick of the Stone Shields. She points to a heavily armored soldier standing sentry at the edge of the training field. Before you ask, no, the Forge-bound weren't sloshed on Dappleseed when they fitted his armor. He survived quite the full force of the Edict of Storms, and this armor doesn't exactly come off. Tactically, he is quite brilliant, but otherwise, it's something of a curse. Tapping her armor twice, Ireneo signals to the hulking presence. Barrick, come meet the Fatebinder. The soldier that steps up to you resembles an amalgamation of rusted blades and mismatched pieces of armor, fused into a vaguely human shape. He reeks of sweat, feces, and whatever oil treatment keeps him flexible.
Fatebinder, the Iron Marshal has tasked me with keeping you alive, and I have no intention of disappointing her. That should be enough assurance for anyone.
Nod silently.
Barrick, is that you under there? I had no idea you were in Vendrian's well. Fatebinder, do you know this walking anchor?
I don't believe we've been acquainted.
It's challenging enough to experience battle from a courtroom, much less remember the faces of your cohorts. I wouldn't expect you to know me under these accursed blades of rust.
The Fatebinder will be joining us for the push across the river. I figured an extra hand might help, and more importantly, if my worries come true and the chorus tries to impede the mission, we will have an observer from the court on our side.
It's just my luck that I'm assigned to one of Tunon's legal clerks. I'm sure you think the rules don't apply to you, but I'm counting on you working with me and my squad to stop these Oathbreakers.
I ask that Barrick accompany you there to arbitrate the cooperation between his company and the Scarlet Chorus. Barrick, you have been without a cohort since the last Battle of Starward. It's time we gave you a task more worthy than hauling wagons and leading training drills. She plants her hands on her hips and speaks in clipped official terms. Ash has assigned you to the Fatebinder service. You're to assume this task is ongoing until we find a more permanent spot for you, which could very well mean the swiftly approaching end of this war, or when the Fatebinder dismisses you. Is that understood? Barrick regards the Iron Marshal in oppressive silence. That is an order, Barrick. She shakes her head and sighs, returning her focus to you. He can be stubborn as pulling Spire out of the earth, but he's a good soldier. I hope you don't mind the company. See, that's just shitty. It's funny, but this is a very, like, it's called having some fucking respect. I'm honored to have a member of the Legion at my side. Excellent. I look forward to your success in the field.
On it.
Sick. We got Big Chungus. He's pretty unique because he's got his armor like melded to him, so he can't. He's, I think, the only character that can't change any of his shit. So that's both cool and not cool. Like,
Yes.
it saves other items for other people, so that's kind of nice, I guess. Okay, I believe we have spoken to everyone in the camp, so it is time to leave. Okay, our objectives right now. Meet with Antio at Echo Call Crossing. His company of soldiers are moving to break the opposition blockade at Echo Call. You've been dispatched to find Antio and assist as necessary. We need to find the missing iron shipment. We need to search for some missing reinforcements. And we need to help speak with the Fifth Eye at the Scarlet Chorus camp. When I met with the Archons, I learned that the Scarlet Chorus has an ongoing operation in Tripnettle, which hasn't proven successful. Speak with the Fifth Eye at the Scarlet Chorus camp and see what you can do to help. Alright. I think... Well, let's look at the map. Oh, that's where we came from, okay. Let's go to the Scarlet Chorus camp first. It's on the way. Your path is blocked by a small group of Vendrian Guard. You can go no further until you deal with them. Rebels!
That's far enough, Fatebinder.
That's Valera from Warcraft. So is the narrator of the game, by the way. Or Hearthstone, which is how I know her. A woman's voice booms from atop a nearby outcropping. Flashes of aquamarine body paint. Let's read the description. The blue body pigment, bladed staff, and complex braided attire are the traditional trappings of the School of Tides. According to Fatebinder Rogalis, the majority of the school fled before the coming of Kairos. The remainder were last seen during the first campaign in Vendrian's Well. The School of Tides traditionally studies the magic of water and grave light, the art of directing the moon's arcane light into baleful, searing energy, which means burning. Okay. Flashes of aquamarine body paint peek out from under her loose-fitting traveler's garbs, and her outfit is festooned in braids and knots of a sailor's line. Flanked on either side by warriors dressed in Vendrian Guard regalia, the woman leans on an elaborate bladed staff pulsing with arcane energy. A swath of blue fabric rests draped over her arm.
In accordance with ancient customs north and south, I offer and request a delay of blade. There are matters we must discuss without fear of reprisal.
The woman bows deeply, lowering her head in a practical display of etiquette. The warriors by her remain in a ready stance, their nerves clearly on edge. You have me at a disadvantage.
I am Ebb of the School of Tides, and today I speak on behalf of the Vendrian Guard.
I advise caution, Fatebinder. Only thing more dangerous than a tearsman is an educated one.
Metal articulations groan as he tries to subtly move his hand towards his blade. In that case, let's deal with this troublesome gnat.
So much for words. Slay this cantankerous twat.
The woman pounds her staff to the ground with one hand while furiously signing magical gestures with the other. A heavy mist spills forth from her hand. The translucent fog thickens into an opaque wall. The Vendrian Guard warriors burst forth from the mist, weapons drawn, but the Tidecaster is nowhere to be seen.
I'm not here to make friends.
Get back!
Uh-huh.
Never hurts to look around for little secrets. I guess that's probably the only one here.
Sorry, I can't.
There we go. You can make out the faintest outline of a soldier's arm in the bottom of a pond, a victim of a previous battle in the area. Gruesome. A rotting body bearing Scarlet Chorus war paint is skewered upon on a wooden pike. Ah, here we go. A squabble. It proves everything. The warrior slams her fists together in a rousing clap. Like, for instance, whether you're fit to lead that flock of children. Behind her, the members of her gang posture with weapons held at the ready. Did you not hear the news of the edict? This is a foolish distraction. We ought to be saving our fight for the enemy. The chorus warrior looks to his gang and gives him a quick nod. What is the problem here? No problem, Madam Fatebinder. She tosses her blade in the air, catching it with a smile on the way down. Captain Fuckwit here Captain Fuckwit... Oh my god. Captain Fuckwit here seems... He's about... What the fuck? That's just worded poorly. Captain Fuckwit here seems he's about to balk from this challenge. Thinks just because he used to run a ship, he's qualified to run a gang. She spits on the ground, looking up with a scowl. So I'm calling him out, because the way I see it, his warriors ought to follow me, not this new blood. Captain Fuckwit was my father. Fuckwit will do just fine. The warrior points at the opposing gang. If we have to prove our strength, we do so happily, but I'll have your hands and feet removed, and the rest of you kept for my own use. Allow me to join you. I enjoy a good bloodbath. A sharp, vicious grin cuts across her face. Be my guest. I've always wanted to see a Fatebinder in action. He falls pointedly quiet, but finally shrugs one shoulder, seemingly smart enough not to protest. Yeah, she's kind of being a divisive bitch, so subterfuge. Cut Quiet Shiv's throat. Then I'll end this quickly. You snatch Quiet Shiv's dagger as she flicks into the air. Before she can even utter her cry of surprise, you stab her in the jugular with her own blade. She crumbles to the ground, face twisted as much with shock and awe as everyone else is in the group around her. Enjoy your new position, gang boss. Maybe I helped the weak guy, I don't know. But it felt good. Well, that's cool. We got some Scarlet Chorus armor. Is it useful for me? Not particularly. The guard places her hands by her belt as you approach, gripping the hilt of a blade. Past this point is chorus territory, and you don't look like someone's conscript. You sure you're in the right place? I am Siren, Fatebinder of Tunon. I'm here to help vanquish the Oathbreakers. You know, I think I was told to expect somebody, but you seem too ugly to be her. Her lips crumple into a smirk. Why exactly should I let you in? And more importantly, what is this hulking ton of iron doing here? The guard gestures at Barrack with a sneer. Step in closely and push her down. Before she can draw her blade, you advance, place your foot behind hers, and give her a stiff shove on the shoulder. Caught off balance, she stumbles backwards, triggering an outburst of laughter in the other guards. I can't believe you sassed the Fatebinder. You're such a stupid ponce. Didn't I tell you I had a special guest coming? The guard waves you in. Come on in, and don't let the ninny shitters in this camp give you any guff. Yeah, if you can't tell, the Scarlet Chorus is the Edgelords. Well, well, the soldier looks you up and down with a mischievous grin. I recognize the Fatebinder of Tunon when I see her. Not quite what I was expecting, but impressive nonetheless. Seems you're making a name for yourself in this camp. She bows. Death Knell, Scarlet Fury, at your service. She points a long finger at you. You know this before you let it go to your head. I only kill interesting foes. The ones on the battlefield who call themselves out with storied weapons or fancy standards. You might think twice before making yourself stand out. She smirks. You might just get the wrong kind of attention. Plus, we've got enough useless twats dying for the Overlord's good cause as it is. All our Horde recruits are good for is piling as tripping hazards to those of us having a proper bit of carnage sport. The Fury effortlessly spins a bronze sword in her hand. Either they learn to fight, or we need to toughen our recruits' standards again. Now, what do you need? You said something about horde thinning? swelling until it's thundering, and then crashing and receding. It's been the way of the chorus for as long as I've been in it. She offers a shrug, ambivalent if anything, but more likely just doesn't care. We take our prisoners alive, give them a chance yet to live, to be reborn into something better. Putting any and every able body to the sword like the disfavored do is nothing but a waste. A conquered enemy is but a new ally. It merely requires the proper coercion. Of course, we do sometimes have the problem of lingering loyalties. Deserters are rarely successful in their escapes, but they do try. The Vendrian Guard, strengthened by their numerous blood ties, have been particularly stubborn. So I've a better plan hatched. And what's that? I'm thinking we redouble our efforts to recruit settlers. Focus on the unaligned and unsuspecting, instead of flushing ourselves to the gills with oath breakers claimed from the battlefield. And how exactly do you plan to convince them? A knife point has sufficed well enough in the past, but you've inspired me to try a more diplomatic approach this day. What do you say, Binder? You might be able to ease them into the idea and save the lives of friends and neighbors in the process. Sure, why not? Sounds like a bit of fun. The Fury howls a satisfied laugh and smacks you dead on the back. My methods are surefire, you'll see. I'll mark the settlement on your map. She grins, biting her bottom lip bloodied. I can't wait to see the outcome of your efforts. What a fucking psycho. And was that a threat, soldier? She draws herself up and studies you. I suppose that depends on... Damn it, we have a siege to run here, and I don't have enough wounds to patch. I already have enough wounds to patch. It's too soon. Her gaze levels with you. I retract my challenge, for now. What were you expecting of me? Let's see. From your deeds during the conquest to how you've helped us since then, I expected a mountain, a warrior of colossal size who could shout a rampart wall into submission. But I think you'll do just fine. What can you tell me about the Scarlet Chorus? We are the voices of Narat's glory made manifest. In the chorus, strength rises, and the weak feed the soil. Deathnell smiles, standing tall as she extols the army. Our ways terrify the cowardly and shock the naive, but our traditions exist to offer promise and prestige to those fit to claim it. We abandon all petty rules for one simple law. The strong must lead. What is your role within the Scarlet Chorus? She frowns. Do you not recognize a Scarlet Fury when you see one? We are the warrior spirit of the chorus, scholars of sword and shiv. She folds her arm, puffing out her chest. In peace, we train those tough enough to endure our lessons, but wise enough to learn from the best. In battle, it is our duty to slay our foes and inspire the horde with our skill and bravery. She clicks her tongue. We are fearless vanguard of this confused but glorious rabble. How has the military life treated you so far? Oh, it's a wonder of wonders. I eat what I want, I shit where I want, and I kill who I want. Sometimes I even combine the pleasures. She winks at you. My enthusiasm for the work brought me here. A dedicated Scarlet Fury veteran, eh? But I'm looking for advancement. If it means killing one of the gang bosses, I'm not above taking a swing at someone bigger than me. They can be bigger than you, just make sure they don't hit harder than you. Wise words, sister. Fare thee well. Most of these provisions have withered and rotted. The barrel is full of murky red water. Severed limbs bob under the greasy soup skin. Ew. Battle plans are scribbled over a blood-stained map of the tiers. Arrows point towards the inner ring of the Vendrian's Well Valley, and small circles are drawn around the citadel. Salveros. Hail, Fatebinder of Tunon. He pounds his heavily armed gauntlet against his chest in a stiff but warm greeting. Were I a betting or superstitious man, I'd say fortune must favor me today. I am not, but I'm pleased to meet you all the same. Now what brings you to my little slice of personal damnation, otherwise known as this here mud and shit-stinking chorus camp? Do you have anything you'd like to report, soldier? Maybe you've noticed something unusual during your time here? He cants his head to one side, taken aback. What is it about the chorus that isn't unusual? The army itself is strange, malnourished beast, But no, the screamers seem mostly in order, ma'am. And I haven't been spying, if that's what you're implying, ma'am. Of course, even if I was, it'd be damn near impossible to learn anything from this shit sty. Fifth Eye and those damn Furies don't even loop me in enough for me to do my detail, and it's not for lack of trying on my part. What do you mean? I'm not just here to keep a steady eye on the Oathbreakers, who they give far too much freedom after conscripting. I'm here to be a resource for the benefit of both armies. I can provide insight regarding proper stratagem and request a stock of troops from Iron Marshal Arrhenios for reinforcements, if needed. But they won't listen to me, nor confide in me, nor fight beside the brethren I could request. So why are you stationed here? From the way most of my days go, you'd think I was here to row with blood chanters and scarlet furies. But my post is to represent the disfavored interests before Fifth Eye and scarlet choruses for Iron Marshal Arrhenios. Not that I've gotten to do either in so much as the last span. What do you think about the chorus? They are rabid dogs, the lot of them. Ever seen a screamer racing headlong into battle like a hound chasing a winter hare? I have. And I can tell you more often than not, it's not the screamer who ends up skinned and gutted. Leave the campaign to the chaos, that's the chorus, and we're doomed. You act like it's a punishment to be assigned to this detail. Isn't it? I know I fucked up to get here. Got 3 days in the hole and a nice little promotion to go with my new post. Well, I won't be making the same mistake twice when it comes to the Iron Marshal. I should be out of here, fighting for Ash's glory, not standing here ready to run back report something. Should something ever finally fucking happen? What did you do to end up here? I won't tell me. Our lives are at risk, and you still can't get along with the chorus? Begging your pardon, ma'am, but I've never fought a battle where my life wasn't on the line, he shrugs. Kind of the nature of war, isn't it? Okay. Prisoners, we gotta talk to the Fifth Eye to gain access. Once again, we need lore to read that shit. What was that? Blood Chanter's leathers? Nah. Let's go ahead and talk to the Fifth Eye. The binder of Tunon arrives. Squealing with a teenager's timbre, the Fifth Eye's voice makes your gums itch and your fingernails feel in need of a trim. And we just finished having a bit of sport with some captives, but worry not, we'll have more fun with another batch momentarily. Dressed in bronze and red regalia of the Crimson Spears, the Fifth Eye beckons you to stand close, waggling a blood-spattered glove. Now that you have issued this edict and doomed us all to die, have you come to help us climb out of this hole? Chirps of laughter emanate from under his mask. How has the camp responded to the edict? With mewling, bawling, the occasional orgy, frequent vomitus, shrill tittering laughter escapes from under his mask. Oh, the bloodlust is there, but so is the fear of failure. Should our glorious horde fail to overrun the citadel, we will surely perish. I mean, I don't see the disfavored pulling their weight. I trust you are getting your warriors ready for battle. We know the Oathbreakers are focused in the citadel beneath the mountain spire, but we have learned it is not their only nest. The Fifth Eye wags a hand in the air with a high-pitched squeal of displeasure. Given their pattern of attacks, they must have a second group maintaining a camp here in the outer valley, and unless we deal with the second group, they'll attack us from behind the moment we cross the river. Remain silent. My last group of scouts returned with a new batch of prisoners, and one of these prisoners claims she can lead us to the Vendrian God's secondary camp. Though there are shreds of deception in her voice. I could use your help questioning this Variakel. Perhaps you would get less screams and tears and more useful information out of her. If we knew where to ambush the Oathbreakers, we could just try and take the captain and show him the wisdom of joining the chorus. I will speak with the prisoner. I will meet you there. She is waiting by the other prisoners. Sniggler Dagos. Upon noticing your approach, he straightens his posture. What an honor. The name's Sniggler Dagos, originally from the relative tranquility of the Northern Empire. I've since accepted a nomadic life for the sake of keeping Kairos' forces supplied with only the finest goods, local and imported. Let's see what you got. It's not much, but let me know if you see anything that piques your interest. Oh shit, yeah, I ain't got that kind of money. The stench of piss and shit emanates from this tent. One clearly not used for rest. Bunch of savages, man.
Sorry, I can't.
Pillar of Courage. What
You
is
learn
it?
something every day.
Oh, I leveled up. Sick. Now we get a look at the skill tree. So, yeah, there's defense, power, leadership, magic, range, agility. Holy cow. Yeah, there's a lot here. We're going to be focusing on range. Bow mastery. Increases weapon damage with bows and allows basic attacks to strike multiple times. Yep. That's all I get, right? Or do I have more points? Yeah, that's all I have. Okay, Verse. She's got 2 skill trees. One based on bows, one based on melee. We'll probably be doing melee for her. Then we've got Barrack, which he can go either more tanky or more DPS. Yeah, he's going to be our tank, so we're going to end up using both trees a little bit, I'd say, but we'll start with tank. Oh, that's right, you get an attribute point every level. That's something I want to think about. My chick, it's either going to be accuracy or damage. I'll let it chill. I'll think about that later. There's no rush. We're early. Okay, let's speak with the prisoner. Please, someone! I wish to bow before the voices of Nerat. I thought all could find redemption in the chorus. A woman in the makeshift armor of the Vendrian Guard lurches forward in agony. Her soiled, trembling legs suggest she has been forced to stand for days. This one, he waves flippantly at the prisoner, was hollering earlier that she knows the location of the Vendrian Guard encampment, but she isn't being entirely honest. I told this thing that I wanted a guarantee that I'd live and be welcomed into the chorus as a captain. Then I'll talk. Otherwise, they'll just kill me once I've told them. I was dumb enough to join with the Vendrian Guard, but I'm not dumb enough to give away my bargaining bronze. Why should I trust the words of an oathbreaker? I suppose I have no answer for that. Her eyes fall to the ground and she swallows nervously. When I joined with the Vindrian Guard, I accepted their broken vow unto myself. Have you not felt passion for a foolish cause, one you later come to regret? Well, my surrender is sincere, and I'm willing to bow before the forces of Narat to prove it. You claim to disavow your people for the Scarlet's Chorus. Why the change of heart? Because I want to live, and you don't need to be the Archon of Premonitions to know that the younger realms are gone for good. She blinks several times, catching her breath. Kairos is the new strength of the Tears, and I would rather stand with his Archons than be crushed by them. Tell me what you know, and I can see to your release. I heard the Chorus is looking for Captain Palix Florian and his crew. I can lead you to them, but only if you release me. She turns her head, taking a long look at skewered and smoldering corpses around her. She tugs at her restraints, but to no avail. You're lying. Why don't you tell me exactly what you know, and I'll see about saving you. Well, so I don't know exactly where the rest of my crew is, but I mean, I saw, search that one. She reaches up with her right leg and points with her foot, calling attention to the nearby pile of corpses. The tall, dark one, missing most of his face. Check his left boot. He was the deliberate one in our crew. He had the orders. With a snap of his fingers, a pair of choirmen yank the boot off the fallen guardsman. A rolled parchment slides out of the boot and is thrust into the fifth eye's hands. He unfurls the scroll to give it a read. It's nonsense, just a mash of words. Laughter erupts from over his mouth. She said she had information. She gives us garbage. Slay this wretch for wasting our time. He snaps his fingers at a nearby Scarlet Fury, who promptly snatches a long knife from her belt. Your camp, your way. Make the cut shallow. Give her time to regret toying with me. The Scarlet Fury opens Varia's neck. Pinned to her final resting post, the Vindrian Guard soldier thrashes and flails for several long moments before bowing her head in death. Ugh. Savage. We're no closer to finding the Oathbreaker's position. Not with this cryptic mess. She promised us answers, and all she gave us was gibberish.
Sorry to interrupt, but I highly doubt it's gibberish. More likely, it's one of the local scripts.
The voice comes from another prisoner tied up next to Varia, an older gentleman with the quill, ink, and vials and parchment scrolls one finds on the sages of the School of Ink and Quill. Ink smudges cover his cheeks, temples, and ears. His clothes appear charred, and between the rips of the fabric, you spot burn scars along his arms. Despite being emaciated and tied to a post, he offers a beaming smile. Can you read this?
Well, let me see. I can't.
You hold the parchment in front of his eyes, and his eyes dart towards the length of the missive. He reads the words a second time, nodding in silence.
I don't know exactly what it says, but I'm half certain that's Sage Selwyn's handwriting. I'm sure I could decipher that in a few hours' time. Don't need my hands free, but I think better when not tied to a post. I know, I'm weird that way.
A few hours? Either you can read it or you cannot. What use is a sage that doesn't know his letters? I've heard all I need to hear. I say we have some fun with this one. It can't hurt to give him a few hours. You read the edict. I don't need to tell you the sundial is working against us. This addled old bag is just trying to stall us. The voices in Herat will be upset to know that you've squandered a source of enemy intelligence. How true. Then we won't put him to waste. He will serve as a most riveting source of amusement as we put him on trial.
Fatebinder, I beseech you, be my advocate for this trial. I'm no fool. I know the chorus uses blood, not words, to settle these matters. But you are a servant of the Archon of Justice, are you not?
Fine. I'll be his champion. This one needs to live. He obviously has useful information.
Good. I like it when Tunon's puppies get their paws dirty.
I wouldn't mind taking a swing at some loudmouth chorus braggarts myself.
Did you hear that, brothers and sisters? Trial by combat is upon us. The sage unbound from the post. Stiff legs nearly buckle as he attempts to walk, and his arms flex and flail in their new freedom. Wiping sweat and grime from his brow, the sage steps closer to you with a nervous smile. Rhythmic roaring and the stomping of hundreds of feet in unison flood the camp. Hordsmen begin to circle and swirl about, brandishing weapons and cheering. If they got this worked up to fight the enemy, I bet the war would be over by now. Begin the chant of gathering. Let the warriors know that tonight's entertainment will soon commence. Oh fuck, what did I get myself into? Do I gotta fight with my whole team? Brothers and sisters, who among you sets the standard for strength? Who among you will help winnow the weak from the strong? The fifth eye waves his hand in the air, drawing in a gathering of chorus soldiers. Our claimants have been assembled. Now let the trial of the Oathbreaker begin.
Come at
I will break you! Of course.
Come back and face me!
Shit.
wake me up when it's over.
Shit, Barrick, you can't go down, buddy. I need you.
Right.
My armor is dented.
Can you knock her down or something?
Let me repair it.
Will do. Take that!
Shit, this is close.
It's a hit! I'm going down!
Aye. By the righteous shedding of blood do we have found our answer. Regrettably, it appears the sage is worthy of leaving our camp alive. The fifth eye offers a short mocking bow to Lantry. By the customs set forth by the voices of Narat, you are free to go, old man. Brag to your grandkids that you fell afoul of the chorus, yet lived to tell the story. That was fun. Your warriors almost put up a good fight. It really is the bloodletting weather, is it not? My conscripts need to see more warriors of your skill in action. I thank you for the lesson you have given the camp.
I thought I'd die tied to that post. Now hand me that parchment. I'm certain I can decipher it. Well, much of the parchment was weathered, but I could make out the important parts of the text. The note makes mention of a meeting spot west of Tripnettle.
So the old sage knows his words after all. I'd ask that you travel ahead and see if you can't get the Captain Florian to yield to the chorus. They will strike at first sight of a chorus gang, but perhaps they will parley if yours is the face they see.
I know the area, and I suggest we go at once. I'll show you the way. I'm eager to be far from the stench of this camp.
You want to come with me? Why? Because the alternative is living here with these illiterate brutes. My old study is under a river of fire, and there's no family missing me. Besides, I'd much rather chronicle the binder that twice proclaimed an edict of Kairos. I'd be a fool to let someone else write your story. Fine. If you are so eager, come along. Splendid! You won't be disappointed. I know I may seem old and frail, but I know how to step lightly and to not get killed. Really, I won't slow you down. Lead the way, and let me know if I can be of service. Are we done here? Let's hightail it to Tripnettle. If your new pet doesn't behave himself along the way, I'm not clipping his ears. I'm not above clipping his ears. Yeah, okay. Alright, Verse. You just have to threaten fucking everyone.
No, sorry.
Lantry's got the lore we need to read these spells. Okay, that's one thing we need to adjust is what skills he levels up in. Nope. Magic Staff is something that he actually will maybe use. We don't need him to use Athletics or Subterfuge. I'm not sure we give a shit about his dodge either. Like, this guy shouldn't be getting hit. I don't know. I kind of want the XP to go into lore, into his magic styles. For the others, Barrick's going to be using a shield, right? Is his shield even come off? Yeah, okay. It's optional, but yeah, he's going to be a shield kind of guy, so we'll disable this. Athletics is maybe good for him. We'll leave it on. Parry is good. Dodge is okay. She'll be dual wielding. Really don't think she's going to use bows with me using bows, so. Subterfuge does what? I see, you can use her for being a rogue type character if you don't do it, but I do, so this is probably fine. Well, look who we have here. Chewing on some manner of cud, a heavy-set soldier flings spittle and crumbs as she talks. The Fatebinder finally shows herself. I'm Reg, the second soldier chimes in, and this is Boz. We were wondering when you might pay a visit to the camp. The Fifth Eye has been a little starved for attention. He ordered us to watch you like a troublesome babe. Make sure you don't get out of line. She knits her fingers together, joints cracking as she smiles. Reg clears his throat, loudly scowling at Boz. Something like that. If you've got questions, ask us. Good luck finding anyone else in the camp who will give you answers, or even a smile. So, anything we can do for you? Tell me about yourself, Boz. I was a sellsword at the beck and call of fat merchants, just another dented face in the crowd. After too many years of spilling blood in local skirmishes, I realized that I was only killing time. When Cairo showed me a better way, unity, purpose, now I fight for something, not just someone. Been watching the Scarlet Furies practicing my blade work. Not good enough to join them yet, but I bet I could show you a thing or two. What about you, Reg? I had a family, a farm, and then the chorus came. Well, now I have the chorus. Priorities change when you hear screams in the night and feel a blade pressed to your neck. Things like farms or families don't seem as important. I used to have nightmares thinking about the culling. The culling is when the Scarlet Chorus conscripts a village, they hold a ceremony known as the culling. Every able-bodied man, woman, and child is given a weapon and forced to fight their family and friends to the death. Those who survived are deemed strong enough and free from old ties to join the army of the Voices of Nerat. Felt awful, remembering how I hacked my mom and dad to bits just so I could survive. His eyes shadow for a moment with sorrow, take on a feverish gleam. The fifth eye heard me howling one night, pulled me out of the horde and took an interest in me. Now I'm studying magic, calling fire from nothing. If Ma and Dad could see me now, they'd be proud. Tell me about your time in the chorus. Reg and I were conscripted at the Gates of Judgment. He used to fight for Alkan, me for Azur. Boz chuckles, stretching her chin in thought. How many fights have we survived so far? 11? Reg begins to count in a series across his fingers. No, 14. I count each day and sunder separately. The chorus is, not as bad as it smells. The strong like me and Reg, we're allowed to take what we want, what we deserve. We live only as well as our strength affords us, as it should be. What can you tell me about the fifth eye? Reg trades an uncomfortable glance with Boz and lowers his voice to a whisper. They say he shares a direct link with the Voices in Nerat. Guard your tongue around him. He's a little wild, bloodthirsty, mad, and brilliant. Reg flinches and glances over his shoulder. I was gonna say eccentric. The chorus isn't picky about who joins the ranks, so you can expect to find some unusual types. Most are likely to kill you as they promote you. What do you guys know about Vendrian's Well? The walls might seem imposing, but the Vendrian Guard do a better job of hiding its weakness than fixing them. We took the Citadel once before. We can take it again. We have to, don't we? Reg looks up at the imposing Tower of the Spire. Though Kairos knows I don't want to stay any longer than is necessary. She follows his gaze and shakes her head. You should know better than to parade your cowardice before the Fatebinder. It's not cowardice, it's superstition. Why are you afraid of the Spire? I'm sorry, Fatebinder. I shouldn't have said anything. The fact of the matter is, we were told to stay away from the spires and old walls ever since we were babes. Of all the dumb childhood lessons that fell by the wayside, that one stayed the same. Imagine a soldier of the chorus pissing himself over architecture. More like what's underneath. The Bane lurk around those old sites and kill anything that they catch unaware. I've no wish to meet the Bane in combat unless there are 100 blood chanters at my back. She twists her lip into a frown and she considers this. Me neither, I suppose. What can you teach me, guys? Do I care about, I guess? Training is actually useful in this game. You can only do certain amounts per level.
Sorry, I can't.
Probably gotta... Baz welcomes you. Welcome back, Fatebinder. We hear you've been doing some good work for the cause. Oh? High time that someone put the disfavor in their place. The chorus could always use grit like yours. So, what can we do? I want to see what your other training is. Magical staff. Shit, I probably should have trained lore instead. Whoops. Oh well.
Right.
Okay. Just checking any secrets or anything. I think that's it. We will continue and check out the hinterlands next time.